Hello sports fans and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're looking at Blood Bowl 3rd Season Edition. So this is the 3rd edition of the new edition of Blood Bowl. It's like the 6th edition overall. The numbering gets a bit wonky, but yeah, we're looking at the brand new box with the Bretonnian team in and the Tomb Kings. So first of all, I want to say a massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending this over a little early to look at on the site. In this video, we're going to be looking at the new figures, painting them up, seeing what they look like, and also checking out the brand new rules. We've also got videos up today for the Spike magazine for the Bretonnians and the Spike for the Tomb Kings as well. So they are linked in the video. We've also got a full deep dive over on the website, spruesandbrews.com, where we go into everything about the game, all the changes, and what is in both of those Spike magazines. But yeah, this is one that I'm really looking forward to. Blood Bowl is an amazing game. I mean, it's been going since the 80s, and like I said, there have been 6 or so editions of it. If you've not played it before, it's essentially fantasy football. It is more of a board game, so turn-based board game. You've got your team over a league. You will gain skills on your players, get new players, and it's basically fantasy American football. You'll be trying to get the ball down to the end zone while murdering people on the way, and it's a load of fun. For the new edition, it looks like they've cleaned up some of the rules, tweaked a few things, but it's not a massive overhaul of the rule system. So in the second half of the video, we'll go through that new rule book and have a look at everything that's changed there. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff in here. You see, we've got a double-sided pitch. One side grass, one side like a dungeon by the look of things. The 2 teams, the Breton Barons and the Nekahara Nightmares. Again, really cool, and looks like we've also got some new tokens and stuff in here as well. So, yeah, without further ado, should we crack this open and have a look what is inside? Heavy old box as well, £88 this retails at, which is not too bad. I was expecting this to be a little bit more expensive with the recent price increases. I think that puts it really nicely as a, you know, Christmas present, which is probably what this is aimed for, coming out in November. But yeah, so first things first, we've got the old, really old now, Blood Bowl kind of ruler and throwing gauges. These are the same ones, so if you have got any of the old editions, these are still compatible, they're still exactly the same, so that's really good to see. But what is new in here are the new status tokens. So previously, for some statuses, you'd have to kind of remember yourself by turning them 90 degrees or putting them on the side of the base or something. Now there's little tokens that fit around side the base that say if a unit's, you know, stunned, downed, all the kind of different special features that you've got for various players. So that's really cool. You've probably got enough here to use for a team. I imagine most players want one of these each. I'm sure they'll sell these alongside the box separately. There's also a new ball marker as well. It looks like the player stands on there, and then there's a little peg to put the ball in, rather than back for the first edition of the new edition of Blood Bowl. There was the little slots in the bases to put the ball into, which was a nice idea but a little bit messy in practice. So it seems by having this separate kind of stand that the ball can go into, it makes it easier to spot who's got the ball. And then on the reverse of it as well, there's a loose ball token as well. So yeah, that definitely makes things a lot easier. Thrown player markers, bomb markers, all sorts on there. So yeah, I believe there's a guide in the book as well to kind of colour code these for the statuses. So these are definitely going to be really handy to make the games go a lot quicker. Also in the box, we've got the 2 new teams. So let's have a look at the Tomb Kings first. These are on a bone coloured sprue, so you don't necessarily need to paint them. Obviously I'll be painting these up, but if you wanted to just pick up the team, one is in bone colour and one is red, so you can kind of identify them. Again, it kind of leans into this being more of a kind of board game vibe to it, but these are very cool. So if you've painted up any Tomb Kings for the old world, you'll know what to expect here. They're all like mummies and stuff, very kind of Egyptian vibe to them. I really like the tokens there as well. There's like a casket of souls, and the coin's got a little kind of Tomb Kings emblem on it. So yeah, like with most Blood Bowl teams, you get 2 duplicate sprues of that, which builds your entire team. What is new in the new edition of Blood Bowl, all the positionals are found within one box, so you don't need to buy multiple boxes to get your full team. You can just pick up this and you're good to go. So that's really cool. The other team in the box are the Bretonnians. And again, they look just like the old world Bretonnians. So you've got no horses because they're playing football. But yeah, really, really cool. There's definitely some conversion fodder in here as well if you did want to use any of these different heads and bodies and stuff to add to your old world army. But yeah, really nice. I like that they've kind of mirrored the old world release armies with the Tomb Kings facing off against the Bretonnians. And again, some really nice pieces in there. And again, 2 identical sprues, which builds up your entire team. So that's all the plastics. But that is not everything. If we lift off this tray here, we get the rest of the stuff in the box. So, we get some dice. If we open up this, in 2 different colours, which is nice. So a set for the Tomb Kings and a set for the Bretonnians, which is nice to see in their own unique colours. I suspect they'll probably get some fancy dice up for pre-order at the same time as these. But they're nice dice and they contrast against each other, which is cool. We get bases for everything in the box, and again, they're just standard bases now. They haven't got the little slot in anymore for the ball because we've got that new ball marker. So that makes life easy. At the very, very bottom, we've got the pitch. So if we open this up, and we can see transfer sheet there for the Bretonnians. I don't know if the Tomb Kings got a transfer sheet, I haven't seen that, but you've got a transfer sheet for them. And then the double-sided pitch and the dugouts in there too. All these look the same size as the previous edition of the game. So don't worry, the pitch hasn't got any bigger or smaller or lost any squares. It is the very same pitch design as we've had in the past. So if you've got any of the other kind of special pitches, they're all valid as well. But I really like this alternate side of it. And then the grass side there again. We'll have a look a bit more of that in a little bit. We do have a full rulebook in here as well. It is the full hardback rulebook, which is really nice, along with some cheat sheets as well. 1 for each player, which is really good. So if you've got 2 people split in this box, you've both got a cheat sheet showing you all the stuff that you need in order to play a game of Blood Bowl. And the core book, again, we'll have a look at that properly in the second half of the video, but before we get there, we'll just have a quick look at the assembly instructions to see how these guys go together. Again, oh, that's the Khemri sheet as well, so we do get a transfer sheet for them too. So that's cool. Yeah, so these aren't going to be too difficult to put together, I don't think. They're not going to have a million pieces. You do get quite a few different model options, so your kind of team will look different. You won't have any duplicate models, which is always good to see. Yeah, they look really cool. I like the Grail Knight Blitzers, they're fun. Knight Catcher, Knight Thrower, and then the standard lineman for the Bretonnians. And then if we flip forward, we've got the Tomb Kings, they've got Skeletons, Tomb Guardians, and they have got Tomb King Throwers. So again, not too many pieces on those. I think they'd be too difficult to put together. So what we're going to do now is have a look at the core rulebook and see what has changed in the core rules. So let's take a look at the new rulebook itself. Now, there's not, you know, it's still the same game of Blood Bowl. Nothing has kind of massively changed into how the game plays, but there are quite a few big changes in some rules and how some things work. So it's funny, yes, there's some changes, but it's not, you know, changing the entire engine of the game. If you play Blood Bowl still 3rd edition, you'll know how to play this. It's still going to work the same way, but there are a few new things added, a few things changed. A lot of the skills have been updated, and certainly the skill kind of categories, about 12 new skills in the game, and all of the teams have had some kind of change as well. We'll have a look at them in a little bit of time. But first of all, this is a big old book. The first half contains all the kind of like lore and background, as you'd expect from any game. If you've not played Blood Bowl before, basically in this alternate take on the old world, rather than kind of finishing their disputes with combat and battles, the people of the Blood Bowl world used games of Blood Bowl to settle their differences. So other than that, it's kind of like the Warhammer world if it went under a slightly different parallel universe, where a Warhammer take on American football was used to kind of decide all of the arguments in the world, which is really cool. And if you're an American football fan, there's loads of names and references and stuff in there that kind of allude to the fact that it's American football. As for the game itself, still uses a pitch. That is all the same. There's no extra squares on there or anything, so your old pitches will still work. Same with the dugouts and all the main tokens. So we had a look at the little token sprue, but in the book they are all colour coded as well. I've got some I'll show you in a little bit at the end of the video, but colouring those up does make it a lot easier. I just clipped out the ball token and the thrown player token because they've got a silvery finish anyway, then sprayed up the rest of them on the sprue, painted over that, snipped them out, give them a bit of a tidy up with a knife, and then yeah, they're all good to go. So yeah, that is all the same. So as for the way the game works, you still have 2 halves of 8 turns. You still go kind of back and forth until you get a turnover, and essentially that's the game. You're trying to score more goals than the opponent. Now, there are a few new things in here from a rules point of view. One of the problems that low agility teams had in the previous edition of the game was picking up the ball. Sometimes you struggle to do that. So they have added a new action that you can do. Pick up the ball. And with that, it's as simple as it sounds. You basically, as long as there's no player within 2 squares of you on a 2+, you just get to pick up the ball. So that makes life a lot easier. Again, we'll see that in a little bit as we go through here. Some of the stuff in here, like distracted, is a new term that applies to all players that don't have a tackle zone, for example, and there's some clarity on the person playing the game as the coach, and the players on the pitch are your players. So that's kind of just clarified. One thing that has been updated is the kickoff table. So we've got a new entry for number 11 that replaces the old one, Dodgy Snack. So both coaches roll a d6. The coach that rolled the lowest, or both coaches in the result of a tie, randomly selects one player on the pitch and rolls a d6. On a 2+, the player's pre-dive snack has not gone down well, and for the duration of the drive, the player reduces their movement and armour value by 1. On a 1, the player's pre-drive snack has violently disagreed with them, and the player is placed into reserves as they place the rest of their drive locked in the lavatory. So yeah, that's not as bad as the officious ref one, which was, you could have someone knocked down straight away. This one is quite a fun one as well, and there's tokens to represent that too on the sprue. So yeah, secure the ball is a new action that they've listed here. So yeah, basically it's a nice way of being able to pick up the ball with a kind of as near as guaranteed in Blood Bowl. Obviously if there's players within that kind of 2 spacing, then you'd start to pick it up normally. But this is a nice way that, if you're receiving the ball and you've got a low agility team, there's nothing worse than just having a string of bad luck and just failing to pick up the ball and immediately getting a turnover. So this is a nice way of being able to do that. Some players can't do that. I forget what the rule's called, but there's a new rule that is on certain players that can't do that secure the ball action. Normally it's like your big guys and the like. So yeah, and there's a few kind of clarities here between declaring an action and performing an action as well. A lot of the stuff in here is really just to kind of clarify the intent of the rules and how they work and all the mechanical stuff. So I think all that was needed. The people are often hesitant to change with new editions of the game, and Blood Bowl's the same. People do get very attached to a previous edition and get scared of any changes. The stuff that I've seen in here looks really fun, and I think it's going to make for a decent game. I'd have more concerns if they overhauled the game completely and changed how the game works. That's not the case here. It's still going to be the same game that you know and love, with a few tweaks here or there, but mechanically it still works the same way. So if you've not played Blood Bowl before, essentially you take turns kind of activating your models. When it's your turn, you will activate your players one by one, but if something goes wrong, something called a touchdown happens, and your turn immediately ends. So really the game's a game of kind of mitigating those risks, doing all your safe stuff first, and then pushing your luck to see how far you can get. Obviously, you maybe don't want to start with a tricky pass or a difficult block. You maybe want to do your kind of more reliable stuff like moving players up the pitch or just standing people up. And once you've played a few games, you'll get the swing of that. One thing that has changed in the pass rules is, I forget what it's called, very inaccurate pass, where it used to, if you rolled a modified one, it would always scatter on the other end. That's not a thing anymore. It's just the unmodified value, which will cause a fumble and a turnover. So that gives you a little bit more, I guess, leeway on those passes. Again, particularly with low statted players who are maybe not quite as good as throwing as other ones. But again, the way it all works is all exactly the same as well. So yeah, if you play before, you're going to know what to expect here. And if you're new to the game, then I think this is probably the clearest we've seen the rules. Everything's got very kind of clear diagrams, and the wording of the skills is very clear, and it talks through everything step by step. The cheat sheet that comes in the box as well is really good, and it comes with full page references, and it's a lot clearer to look at. So yeah, if you are new to Blood Bowl, this is probably a really, really good time to jump into it as well. One thing that has been added in this edition is stalling. So traditionally what some teams want to do is get up to the kind of other end of the pitch with the ball and wind the clock down a couple of turns so you can score at the very end of a drive. Now, in the new edition of the game, you are actually penalised somewhat for doing that, because again, it's not a very fun play experience, and if you think from the kind of fictional point of Blood Bowl, the fans probably wouldn't enjoy watching that. So they have got this new stalling rule where if you can score but you're choosing not to, then there's a chance that basically the fans aren't happy and they'll just start throwing rocks at you guys and cause a turnover. So yeah, that kind of incentivizes you. If you can score a goal, you should score a goal, which I think that's a good change. It's not the most fun if you've got a team that wants to win 1-0 because you've just stalled the whole time. That's not really very fun. Now, league play is cool. So in league play, basically you'll make your team by spending a million gold, and then you'll basically play a full league. So you'll have like league tables and then kind of a knock-off kind of round at the end of that. And in that you will kind of earn your cash. Teams might be different values, so you've got this kind of inducement mechanic where the team that's behind basically gets some petty cash to spend on different inducements that they can buy in order to get some bonuses and different things. We'll see them a little bit in the book, but that's been changed a little bit since the previous edition. Also in a league, you'll advance your players, so you'll gain star player points for doing various things during the game. You now get them for throwing teammates, which is really handy. If you have been thrown by a teammate, you get star power as well. So lots more ways where your players can gain experience basically, and then you can spend that experience in order to get new skills. So yeah, really, really fun. That's like the best way to play Blood Bowl, because it is cool. You see your players develop, you see your roster expand, and with the new hatred rules as well, you can kind of get like animosity rules going on, where if a player takes you out, you then gain hatred against all players of that positional type as well, which is really, really fun. So yeah, really, really recommend doing that. Obviously, for your first few games, if you've just picked up this box, you could probably just play with the two teams in the box and kind of get to grips with things. But yeah, it's definitely worth leaning into that league side of things and getting a few friends together and making a little league table and doing lots of matches against each other and yeah, it's really, really good. We will look at some of the other Spike journals today as well. There's videos up on the site, and in those there's also home pitches for the two teams. If you've got one of the older teams, you pick up their Spike journal, they'll have pitch rules in there as well. And what we find really fun is have that as our kind of like home stadium, and then over the course of the campaign you're playing on lots of different pitches with all their own kind of special rules and stuff. So yeah, really, really cool. Obviously you can play at match play by just getting your team and playing against each other. You might want to up the value in order to have some more skills and stuff if you want as well. And then the third way of playing is really exhibition playing. This is something that's kind of investigated in the Spike journals as well. Basically kind of recreating a historical Blood Bowl game. So the Spike journals are written from the point of view of their real, actual sports fanzines. And in them, you'll often get a historic match between two teams. You'll get the lineup of the teams. They'll normally be quite developed with quite a few, skills and special rules and stuff added, and then try and recreate the game. What's fun in the two Spike journals is that you get 3 achievements for each side as well. So one fun thing you can do in these exhibition matches is play 2 games. One, player playing as Team A, and then the next game play as Team B, and see out of the 2 of you who can unlock the most of these achievements. So again, that's a really, really nice, fun way of doing things. So I mentioned earlier that skills have had a bit of an overhaul. Previously, we had 5 skill categories. That's been expanded out to 6 skill categories now. You've got agility, devious, general, mutation, passing and strength. Now obviously with that, I've had a whole new category with devious. 12 new skills have been added to the game. Some of the devious ones have been pulled in from other areas. A lot of them are brand new. And again, there's a lot of new ones that have been put into different categories as well. So that's quite cool. One of the things I didn't like about the previous edition of Blood Bowl was that the skill reference area of the book was really messy to follow. It was split by, say, all your agility skills would be together, then your general skills would be together. For this one, they've gone the other way, and all the skills are listed alphabetically, regardless of what category they sit under, and then they have little identifiers next to them to show what skill category it is, or in the case of the little helmet, it's a trait. So a trait's normally a skill that isn't learnt, they just guess it on their profile. So yeah, really, really easy to find things now, where before it was an absolute nightmare. If you were playing a game and you didn't necessarily know what, tree the skill sat under, there was a lot of flicking back and forth. Where now with the new kind of just alphabetical and then list the category with a symbol, it is a lot easier to find where things sit. So I think this is a much better change, and it's going to lead to quicker play. Obviously there's quite a few new skills in here as well, so if you are an existing player, it's definitely going to be worth a look through the skills. I don't think any have changed. I've had a look through them, kind of try and cross-reference against the previous book. I don't think many have changed, but there are some new ones in there, so again, that's something you're going to keep an eye on. Like I say, most of them are those devious skills, because that's a whole new category that's been added. But that said, some of those have been moved from other categories as well. So yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in here now, and I think the main thing is this being much easier to navigate makes life so much easier when you're trying to figure out what your team does during a game. Now I mentioned that inducements have changed a little bit as well. In the previous editions of the game, there was special play cards, I think they were called. Basically cards that you could buy that did something in the game. That as a concept has gone, so all those previous cards are no longer in use, and it's kind of being replaced with prayers to Nuffle. So these, you have 0 to 3 of them. They cost 10,000 gold each, and basically you can choose to use one of these prayers at the start of a drive and it will give you a random effect. So for example, treacherous trapdoors. certainly the ones in the box, each pitch has got trapdoors on the pitch somewhere, and this interacts with this. So each time a player from either team enters a square consisting of a trapdoor, roll a d6. On a 1, the trapdoor falls open and the player falls through it, making an injury roll for the player exactly as if they'd been pushed into the crowd. So yeah, all the way up to intense training. Randomly select one player that is playing on your team. The selected player gets a single primary skill for the duration of the game. So for 10,000 gold, these are worth picking up. Obviously, it's very random and you don't know what you're going to get, but certainly for the underdog, the player who's kind of lagging behind in the stats, these can really level the playing field. And I think that's what inducements are meant to do. And I think this is a really nice way of doing it. That keeps the feel of those old special play cards, but in a more tangible chart you can roll on. So yeah, I think that's a really, really good change. There's a few tweaks to costs and stuff in here as well, and that's across the entire book. So again, if you've played before, don't make any assumptions. A lot of costs have changed. A lot of the numbers of things that you can take have changed. So cheerleaders and coaches are 0 to 5. I think they were previously less than that, certainly for the coaches. So they've kind of changed across the board. We do get a new one in team mascot. You can take a single team mascot, and these are pretty cool. They basically give you an extra reroll each half, but it only works on a roll of 4+. So you basically opt to use your team mascot reroll, roll the dice. On a 4+, amazing, you can do a reroll. On a 1 to 3, you can't do that reroll. So, and you can't use your normal reroll instead. So it's a bit of a gambly one, but it's really nice for an extra, maybe a reroll each half. It also interacts with the cheering fans result on the kickoff table as well. Now, I don't know about you, but I really hope they do some team mascot miniatures, because that'd be amazing. I think there's some really fun stuff they could do with that. I'm sure people will do some really cool conversions for that as well. But yeah, for 25,000, that's not a bad inducement as well. So like I say, there's a few changes there. Bribes, 0 to 6 for bribery and corruption, and 50,000 gold pieces each. So the teams that are under that bribery and corruption umbrella has been expanded out as well. I think dwarfs are in there now. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff you can do with bribes as well. The way they work is still exactly the same, but yeah, there's some fun stuff. So yeah, inducements have had a bit of an update, and yeah, I like the changes there. Now the teams have probably had the biggest update to these. I'm not going to go through all of these because A, there's a lot of them, and B, most of these have leaked online by the time this video goes out anyway. But essentially, all of the teams have had updates of some sort. A lot of them, they will have changed stats, so agility's changed a lot in a lot of teams. The different skill trees they've got access to has changed for a lot of these teams too. So yeah, there's quite a lot here that has been updated. In the previous edition, everything was put under a tier to basically show, you know, tier 1 teams are the best teams, tier 4 teams are a bit rubbish, they might be a bit more of a challenge to play with. That information is now all contained in a document on Warhammer Community. At the time of filming this, I haven't seen that document yet. I suspect it will go up when the game's on shelves in 2 weeks' time. But that means they can adjust teams up and down these tiers as they need to. In match play games, you'll get basically a bonus if you're a worse tier team than the other player. So yeah. That's interesting that they're not on here, and I guess it leaves it open for them to update those in the future. Now with your teams as well, you'll also get a choice of leagues that you play in as well. And these really just determine what star players you can take, along with some other interactions here or there. But if we kind of switch over, so Amazons, for example, are just the Lustrian Super League, and the Black Orcs are just the Badlands Brawl. But some of the teams, such as, I've got some bad examples here, but some of the teams might be able to be taken from multiple different leagues, and you pick the league that you want your team to be playing from. So that's pretty cool. Bretonnians are the new one. Again, we'll look at the Spike Journal in a little bit, but they're quite a fun looking team. They're more expensive than the Khemri team. They're a bit hardier. You've got Dauntless and Nerves of Steel on a lot of your players, which makes them more likely to stick around. I think Dauntless, off the top of my head, if you're up against something with a higher strength, there's a chance that you get to equal their strength to basically reduce the number of block dice that are coming in against you. The Squires as well have got Wrestle, which are pretty good. They're fairly cheap at 50,000. Grail Knights are really good with block and steady footing as well. Steady footing is a nice one that basically gives you a 6+ save against being knocked down. So yeah, they seem to be a more reliable team out of the two teams in the box. I think they're definitely going to be more user friendly. I do have a full video of the Bretonnian Spike Journal as well, so if you are looking to play those, check out that video, because we'll go through that book there and just kind of talk about how they play. But yeah, lots and lots of stuff. The cool thing about this is that all of the teams are represented within this book. Chaos Dwarfs is a good example. You can take them under the Badlands Brawl or the Chaos Clash, and based on which of those that you pick will change what style players you've got access to as well, giving you a bit of variety. But yeah, I think most teams have had some changes. I mean, the biggie really with the change in the skill categories, you'll find that some teams haven't got access to skills that they used to have. You'll also find that some teams have access to skills they didn't used to have access to. All of the older teams previously were able to take more positionals than was in the box. That's been adjusted across the board now, with the numbers being limited to what's in the box. Now, there's been a lot of crying online about this, and you know what? I'd rather have all my positionals in the box rather than having to get a second box for them. Now, some people will argue, okay, yeah, but you're going to need more alignments, you're going to need an extra box. I'd argue that's not necessarily something that you need to be able to start playing out of the bat, though. A lot of people have got existing collections, lots of miniatures. Somebody new to the game is probably going to want to take a lineup with all their key positionals in there. Okay, maybe further down the line in a league they'll need some more linemen. But starting out, if maybe a team's got, I don't know, it had four positionals in a certain slot and you got 2 in a box, that did put people at quite a disadvantage if they didn't buy an extra box to bring them. So what they've done is shifted those numbers around to match the contents of the box, and they've put in some more skills and changed some of the stats in there. And don't forget, these tier numbers will be moving around as well. I mean, balance isn't really something that needs to be a thing in Blood Bowl. Like in real football, there's good teams and there's rubbish teams, and that's always been something that's existed with Blood Bowl as well, to kind of recreate the feel of the sport. So I think that's a good update. I'm looking forward to seeing more teams on the pitch as well. So yeah, really, really cool. I am already looking to paint up some more teams to add to my collection, because yeah, with the updates, there's some fun things here. And some teams that maybe weren't picked as often are now looking a bit stronger as well. So that's pretty cool. I think Nurgle in particular have had some glow-ups. And the Alliance team still exist as well if you want a mixed team of lots of different bits from various teams too. Old World Alliance are pretty good. Undead teams as ever are all really, really good as well. I think there's some really good stuff that you can do there. See, the other new team in the box are the Tomb Kings. These are basically your classic undead team. They've got the Masters of Undeath special rule, so they can't take an apothecary. Your linemen are cheap, but they've got regeneration and thick skull, something that's on most of your players apart from your Tomb Guardian, so they're going to be sticking around. They're rubbish at passing and they've got rubbish armour, but they're there just to, I guess, be sacrificial lambs. Your thrower's a bit better, he's a bit quicker, he's got better armour, he's got pass and sure hands as well for trying to get that ball to where it needs to go, and likewise the blitzer's got block and again higher movement and higher armour value. His pass is rubbish at 5+ as well, but ideally you probably want to get your thrower to get the ball, hand it off to your blitzer and run him down to score. Your Tomb Guardians, you can have 4 of these, so they're pretty good. They're expensive, but they're strength 5, they've got an armour value of 10 plus, and they've got Brawler as well. They do have the decay rule, so you need to be careful about injuries, and they don't have thick skull, but they do have regeneration. So I think Tomb Kings are going to be a more finesse one to use compared to the Bretonnians in the Blood Bowl box. But the models are really, really nice. In a little bit we'll have a look at the painted models to see what they look like. And again, we've got a video on the Tomb King Spike Journal as well, which we'll go into kind of their book and see what's new there. So yeah, vampires look very good as well. In fact, there's some really, really nice teams in here. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see a big variety of teams on the pitch. Now, something that is included in the book are star players. However, interestingly, it doesn't contain all the star players in the game. I think there's 16 in this book, with the rest of them being in a PDF on Warhammer Community. I don't know the reason of that. Maybe it's because some of the models they don't make anymore. I don't know if any models are being removed from sale, maybe, and then they're going to have the PDF as a kind of, I don't want to say legends because they're still going to be legal, but you know, a repository of all the ones that are in the game. It suggests to me that the ones in the book are the ones that are for sale, but again, there's some recent ones that aren't in here, so maybe it's more a case of the stuff in the Spike Journals are going to be in there in representative book, and the kind of more generic ones are in here. It is worth noting that both of the new Spike Journals that are out today don't have any star players in, which surprised me. So yeah, it does mention that there might be future Blood Bowl supplements that have more star players in as well. So yeah, you also get a really good index as well, which makes it really quick to look up things. So yeah, that is the new Blood Bowl rulebook. What we're going to do next is have a look at the painted models. So over the last week I've been furiously painting up the new contents of the Blood Bowl box, and I've fallen in love with the miniatures. We'll have a look at the Bretonnians first. We've got our catcher there running along with the ball. I've done these in the same scheme as my Old World Bretonnian army, just to kind of like cross the streams and tie them together. You do get 2 of each pose, but like with a lot of Blood Bowl figures, because you get 2 duplicate sprues, there's a few different heads and arms and stuff that you can do to make each of the 2 models look a little different. We've got the thrower there with his helmet up, looking really cool, and then the other thrower model has got the helmet down and his arm up. So you can see they're both the same like core model, but by kind of like doing it that way, they can make the 2 models look different even though they're shared. Grail Knights are really nice as well. They've got some really cool helmets. And again, it's a fairly quick scheme to do. There's probably more I could go back and add some detail to. I've put numbers on the back of the shields. You do get some transfers, but they're a little bit small. They'd probably fit on the kind of the shoulder shields that they've got, but I think they're a little bit too small to put on the back shield, so I've just painted them on with some white paint. And the other Grail Knight is here, and again, he's looking really cool as well. And the other 6 in the box are all your linemen. Again, there's 3 core bodies here, and you get a couple of different poses per body, just to mix them up with a few different heads. What you could do to go further as well, I've done the same kind of quadrants on all these, but you could reverse it to have the other model look a bit odd. I just thought as a Blood Bowl kit, it makes sense for the same kind of quadrants to be blue or red each time. But yeah, really, really nice models. I'll probably be running the Tomb Kings in my games of Blood Bowl. But yeah, I really enjoy painting these up, and I think we're going to do a bit of a Sprues and Brews Blood Bowl League, where we'll each run a few different teams, and then you can kind of get the most out of running a league. And then finally, we get this guy. Now you do get some markers and tokens and stuff. I've left those in the box. I've got images over on the website. They're tiny as well, so you won't be able to see them very well on the camera. But they're really nice as well. You've got like a grail with a frog on it and the usual coins and stuff. Moving on to the Tomb King side, we'll start with the Tomb Guardians, who are amazing looking models. So yeah, if you're a fan of mummies, this is definitely the team to go for, because these models are so cool. I thoroughly enjoyed working on these guys. It made me really want to do a Tomb King's army for Old World. I do have picked up one of the Tomb King's boxes when Old World was released, and I really enjoyed painting these guys up, so I really want to get some paint on those and get them on the battlefield, because these were great. I really hope that we see some new skeletons as well, because the stylings of these guys are so good. Really nice models, and really fun to paint. The good thing with Blood Bowl teams is because you've only got, what, 16 players max, they are really fun and quick to paint up as a little palette cleanser. Especially as well if you're thinking of starting a new Old World army and wanted maybe some inspiration or the chance to paint up something kind of in the scheme that you're going for. Blood Bowl's a good choice. Now obviously for some teams it's a little bit different because they're wearing like armour and stuff when they wouldn't normally be, but you can certainly get the vibe of the army before you commit to picking up a full force. Or Blood Bowl as well, if you just want to paint something different. Maybe you've been painting a massive Gloomspite Gitz army for Age of Sigmar and want to paint something that isn't green. You could pick up, you know, the Bretonnian box and go for something that's completely different. But yeah, the throw is really nice as well. Really impressed with all these models. I do enjoy painting up Blood Bowl figures just because it is a nice little quick side project I can do. I mean, I've shown out quite a lot of stuff having to paint for the website, but personal stuff between projects, a Blood Bowl gig team, it's only, what, you know, 12 models, 14 models in these boxes, and I can get them done in a couple of days and have something that looks finished and complete, compared to an army where, you know, you've got a lot of work to finish and paint an army, which can sometimes be a little bit difficult between other projects, especially doing stuff like Sprues and Brews. There's always lots of content to do. We'll show some of the tokens as well. So I've painted up the ball from the possession marker, and the way this works compared to the old one is you simply place the model on there and then you can see that they're carrying the ball. So quite straightforward, quite easy to use, and not fiddly like the old one was, putting it in the bases. I've also painted up the tokens as well, which you can see here. Again, these are really easy to do. The stunned ones are reversible, so you put down prone and then you can flip over to stunned. So yeah, all the other ones are double-sided with the same one on. But all I did was spray them black and then painted the detail, just quickly went over it, leaving the black in the recesses, made them stand out. And again, if we get a model, these can then just go next to the base. They tuck in close to it to show that they've got that status. So yeah, that is our look at the new edition of Blood Bowl. Lots and lots of Blood Bowl content up on the site this week. So as well as this video, we also have a full written article over on spruesandbrews.com where we do a full deep dive into the game and talk what's new. There's some more images of the teams on there as well. And then over on here as well on YouTube, we've got 2 videos up today. One for each Spike journal as well. One for the Bretonnians and one for the Tomb Kings. We go through the book, we talk a bit about those teams as well, and we'll show off the player cards for those as well. So if you are into Blood Bowl, there's lots of fun stuff. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, why not give us a follow, give the video a like. Let us know if you want to pick up the new edition of Blood Bowl and what team you're thinking of playing. And also, if you are going to pick up Blood Bowl as well, we do have an affiliate link to Element Games in the description. If you use that, we get a bit of a kickback, which goes towards helping run the site and paying all the kind of site costs and stuff. So yeah, maybe you enjoyed this. We're going to do some Blood Bowl videos as well, some games. They're nice, quick little battle reports we can do. So if you are interested in that, let us know, because that's something we absolutely want to do, and we'll let you know when they're up. Other than that though, have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.